The other one's completely.
Hey, this is Alyssa's target. The last time she was shooting, 5 out of the 6 in the bullseye. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Scott from Mish Outdoors. If you watched my last couple videos, you've seen that I did ammo testing on my Henry lever action 22 mag and my Savage Model 64 semi-auto 22 long rifle. So I sighted them in at 50 yards. Curiosity got the better of me. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to set up out here. We're going to shoot a couple of rounds out of each one at 50 yards. Today we're going to use my tripod. Hopefully that'll get me a little bit more stable. The last time, as you've seen in the videos, if you watched them, I was shooting off of a table that was kind of a little rickety. We had some rain, we had some snow, the ground's a little squishy, and it just wasn't real stable. So today I brought out the Bog Death Grip tripod, and I'm gonna lock these two down in that tripod and see if maybe I can get a little bit more stable shot on it. And we're gonna go ahead and, like I said, shoot a few rounds from each one at 50 yards, and if I need to make some adjustments, we'll do that. And then, like I said a minute ago, and I'm just curious how much drop there's going to be at close to 100 yards. I used my rangefinder and I walked it off about as far as I could get without having to, trim up some of the tall grass and move the target back any. I can get it right at about 95 yards. And I'm curious to see just how much drop these 22s have. And I'm kind of curious to see which one has more drop. Does the 22 mag have more drop than the 22 long rifle? Do they still group decent at 100 yards when they're sighted in at 50 yards? So that's pretty much what we're gonna do today. We're gonna take a few shots from each at 50 yards, and then we're gonna move everything back to, we'll call it 100 yards, but technically it's 95 yards, and then we'll swap targets over, and then we'll take a few shots from each at 95 yards, and just see just how much drop there is. I wouldn't think there would be a whole lot of drop, but I'm assuming there's going to be some. I mean, the 50-yard difference, when they're zeroed in for 50 yards, I would assume there'd be a couple of inches of drop, but I'm curious to see just how much. So stay tuned. We'll get everything set up. We'll get the other camera rolling on the target. We'll get everything prepped and ready, and then we'll bring you back and we'll start taking some shots. All right, we're out here. We're set up on 50 yards. I got 5 of the CCIs loaded into this 22 long rifle. We're gonna go ahead and send them down, verify that she's 0 still, and then we'll do the same with the 22 mag. And then as long as everything's good and we don't have to make a bunch of adjustments, then we'll go ahead and move back to, we'll call it 100 yards, but like I said before, it's technically 95 yards. So we'll go ahead and run these 5. And then we'll load up the 22 mag, and then we'll run 5 out of that, and then we'll move on back and see what kind of drop we get, and see if the spread's kind of, if it holds a decent pattern at 100 yards, same as it does at 50 yards. So let's go ahead and get these sent down. It is much more stable on this tripod than it was on that table, I'll tell you that much. All right, that was 5. So we'll go ahead and get everything swapped around and get the 22 mag up here, and we'll send 5 down with that. All right, we got the 22 mag loaded up. We're gonna go ahead and send 5 down on that right-hand side target, and do our best to get as good a groups as we can, and then we'll move back to 95 yards. All right, that was that 5. From looking through the scope, it looked like it was a pretty decent group. So we're gonna go ahead and get everything moved back to 95 yards. We'll get the target swapped out, and then we'll send 5 of each down on a new target at 95 yards, and then we'll take everything in the house and kind of do a comparison and see what kind of drop we got, what kind of grouping we have at 50 yards versus at 95 yards. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. All right, we got everything moved. We're pretty much at the edge of the fence, and to the target it's about 95 yards. We got 5 loaded up in the 22 long rifle. And we'll go ahead and get these sent down, and then we'll swap over to the 22 mag and get those sent down and see what the groups look like. So I know it's going to shoot low. So what I did is I put a little sticky deal that you put over, like when you take a shot and there's a hole there, and you just take the little round circle and you stick it over it. So I did that and put it at the top of each target, and I'm going to aim at that and then see what kind of a drop it gets, because I know it's going to drop. So I just don't know how much it's going to drop. So we're going to aim at, man, that's really hard to see with this crappy scope. Well, I couldn't tell you where those hit, because again, this scope is not very good scope at all. So I can't see where to hit. We'll find out when we get down there though. So we'll go ahead and get this one set down. Get my little towels that I have to put in here to make up the slack here. Get those put in there. And then get this mag set up in here, and we'll send 5 down with this one. These little Henrys are so narrow. This bog doesn't smash down far enough, so I have to do a makeshift spacer, if you want to call it that. You can definitely see better with this scope. We'll aim at the top little dot there that I put on it. And I'm getting a little bit of wobble. It echoes a lot over here. I'm getting an awful lot of wobble. Let me see if I can tighten down this tripod just a hair. Maybe it'll help with the wobble. Well, it appears at 95 yards there's no drop with this, or not much drop anyway. I would have swore that would have dropped a lot more than that. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and go down and take a look at that target, because if I'm seeing what I'm seeing, I might send 5 more and aim at the center of the target, because I do believe that there was hardly any drop on that, which is way surprising. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. All right, we walked down there, and just as I suspected, there was hardly any drop with the mag. Now, one thing I did forget to do is adjust my parallax. I don't know if that's going to have anything to do with it or not, but just to, for argument's sake, just to see, we're going to go ahead and send a few more down, but we're going to actually aim at the center of the target and see if it was, you know, if it truly does have next to no drop. Once we get everything in the house, I'll kind of show you the first set of shots, and then the second set of shots. We'll go over both the targets and everything when we get back in the house. But let me go ahead and get these 5 sent down, and then we'll get everything collected up and get in the house and go over everything. Okay, that was everything. That's all we're going to do is 5 more. So we'll go ahead and get everything collected up, get all the stuff put away. We'll get in the house, and then we will go over the targets together. All right, we're back in the house. So, I mean, if you've probably already seen it in the footage, but we went ahead and put the calipers on here, and we did it in a couple of different ways. So the 22 long rifle, I took the 3 closest shots, and those were a .65 group. So I don't know how well you can see that. So 0.65 for these 3. These 2 are touching, but if you take all 5 of them together, it ends up being a 1.18 inch group for the 22 mag. These 3 here are all touching, and if you go from farthest to farthest on these three, that's a 0.4 inch group. That's pretty impressive. And if you do all 5 of them, you got a 0.9 inch group. So at 50 yards, that old Henry 22 mag, what a 5-shot group is less than a 1 inch group. So highly impressed with that at 50 yards. Now, when we go to 100 yards, that's where things get a little different. Kind of doesn't make any sense to me, so we'll go over the measurements and then you can drop in the comments what you think and what you think the reasoning is behind why it did what it did. So obviously I'm not a professional shooter. I haven't put thousands and thousands of rounds through any of these weapons. I'm just kind of getting started into it. Only thing I've ever really done with, rifles is hunt for a season. So never really did a bunch of range time and anything like that. So maybe somebody who's got years and years of experience can explain. I was aiming here with 22 long rifle. Just as I suspected, there was some drop. It was a little inconsistent. So we got these 4 here that are all within the same line, side to side. There is some variance, left to right. Could have been me, could have been wind, could have just been, the crappy bullets. Don't know. We had one that was only inch and a half low, and the rest were 1, 2, 3, 4 inches low. What I expected. Now, here's where things get a little fishy. And don't mind my screw up here. I circled one too many in this group here. So the mag, horrible spread. I mean, the 22 long rifle had a 2.54 inch spread for the 5 shots. These 5 shots, I was aiming here. I was expecting it to be low. It really wasn't low because my first 2 shots were above where I was aiming. Then I had a shot up here. I don't think that was it. So actually it was, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that was one of the shots there. So you'd have to go back and look in the footage and you'll see in what order these were hit. But I was aiming here and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 off the paper at 95 yards. There was like no drop. And then I was aiming here with 5 more just to kind of verify. There was no drop. And again, it was shooting high. And I had 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. This 5 set here is a 3.1 inch group. This up here, the first 5 was a 2.73 inch group. So a horrible spread, in my opinion. I mean, again, I'm not a professional shooter, and I don't obviously take 22s and shoot them out at 100 yards on a regular basis. I take my 22s and I go out in the backyard and I kill a squirrel. But I was impressed with the grouping at 50 yards, especially with the 22 mag. I got 3 shots touching, and the total 5-shot group was under an inch group. I was pretty impressed with that. The 22 long rifle didn't do bad either, with a little 3-shot cluster being just over a half-inch group, 0.65. Not bad. At 100 yards, not so good. Definitely not precision guns anyway. I mean, the 22 long rifle was a $200 Savage from Walmart, and the 22 mag is, I don't even know how many years old. I'm gonna have to take the serial numbers on that one of these days and see exactly what year it is, but it's an old Henry 22 mag lever action. So the fact that it shoots as good as it does is pretty impressive. So, excuse me. All right, that's gonna do it for this video. So thanks for tuning in. If you wouldn't mind, hit that like and subscribe button. It would help the channel tremendously. let me know, drop it in the comments. Let me know what you want to see next. We've done the Rimfire comparison. We will have to take the shotgun here and get it sighted in for turkey season after we do our goose hunt. So I know of at least 2 times minimum here in the next month we're going to be doing some snow geese hunting, so that content will be coming to you soon. I'm going out of town. I won't be back until first part of March, so that first weekend in March I'm going to try to get out and do some of that conservation order goose hunt, so we'll have that content coming to you. I'm going to try to get the 6.5 and the 243 back out to the range, like I said before, get them squared away. And I think I found a spot where I can set up some targets, 300, 400, 500 yards. That's going to be a lot of work to get all that done, but I'm going to try to get that done so we can try to stretch out at minimum the 6.5. I might go ahead and try to stretch them both out just because, bring some more content to you guys. And I'm curious to see how well just your cheap, budget-friendly hunting rig, how well it shoots distance. And I'm still trying. I'm just now dipping my toe into the long range shooting. Haven't done it yet, but I'm dipping my toe into it. So we'll be bringing that content to you as soon as I can get a chance to get out there and get it done. So drop it in the comments. What do you want to see? Fishing season's coming up here real soon. Like I said, we got the goose hunt. Turkey hunting will be coming right around the corner. I definitely want to try to get some targets set up, 300, 400, 500 yards to stretch these things out. It seems like you guys really like the shooting videos, the range time videos and comparisons and stuff like that. So I'll try to dip my foot into that a little bit. I might try to pick up a couple of different new to me rifles and do some comparisons with those too, just to bring some content to you guys. So drop it in the comments. Let me know what you want to see, and we'll try to see if we can make it happen. So thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.